Monday's agreement between Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela to join forces on a major gas supply agreement is being hailed as historic, with many experts saying Trinidad and Tobago will benefit from the new gas supply from the Dragon field, which will come towards the downstream sector at Point Lisas. Prime Minister Dr Keith Rowley inked the deal with President Nicholas Maduro in Caracas, after which both parties enjoyed a bit of a dance in celebration of the historic agreement. Speaking late last night to the media who'd accompanied his delegation, Dr Rowley explained how the deal would pan out.
We in Trinidad and Tobago have taken a number of steps to bring to production gas within our borders. And even so, what we have seen are two things. One, those projects that are likely to bring gas earlier, some in 2017 and some in probably 2018, 2019, even with their coming on stream, the best we can hope for from that input is a maintenance of the current situation, which will deteriorate if those supplies aren't there. So the best that we could be doing within our borders now is marking time in the same place. But if we don't get that gas from within our own borders, like the Juniper and the others we're talking about, then our shortfall will continue to deteriorate. What we have done here is to put something in place with volumes, starting with a certain volume and increasing towards 1 BCF, which soon after we start, which will give Trinidad and Tobago the comfort of being a stable supply area.
And last night, the Prime Minister also outlined the key contractual details of the agreement inked with the Venezuelan president.
The parties agree to take reasonable steps to facilitate A, the development, construction, operation, and maintenance of one or more pipelines from the Marisal Sucre region in the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, including a pipeline from the Dragon field to the Hibiscus platform.
Dr. Rowley also explained how the intricacies of the historic deal will work.
The delivery of gas from fields in northeastern offshore area of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, known as the Marisal Sucre region, to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And C, the sale of natural gas volumes to the domestic market, gas market of Trinidad and Tobago as a priority and international markets.
We continue with news from the gas deal signing yesterday. On set with me is Karen Cozier-Phillip, who was part of the media delegation. Karen, we haven't really heard much from the Venezuela end, but who do you think this deal benefits more, us or Venezuela?
Actually, Mahalia, I think the deal benefits both countries. As you know, Venezuela is in an economic crisis, and it would benefit Venezuela because they are able now to have a market to sell their gas. It benefits Trinidad because, as you know, we have a gas shortage, and the companies in Point Lisas have been complaining that they are not performing to maximum because of this gas shortage. So it would benefit both countries. As Dr. Rowley explained, it's for the future of the Trinidad and Tobago in the medium and in the long term. Also because Trinidad has not been finding that much amount of gas as before. So our gas reserves have not been coming to the surface. So it would benefit both countries.
This comes at a very economically challenging time for Venezuela. What did you observe as you drove from the airport to Mia Flores?
Okay, well, we were in a convoy, so they stopped the traffic for us along the highways. So we were moving at a high speed, because we had to reach our destinations at a particular time. Everything was, because the flight got pushed back by an hour or so, the agenda was tightened. So from the Prime Minister's signing of the book at the National Pantheon of Simon Bolivar, we went straight to the Presidential Palace. While we were driving through the streets going into Caracas, there wasn't much activity on the streets, I think probably because the time of day it was 11:30 midday, so maybe people were still at work, people were still on their jobs. We saw a few lines, and when we asked the the Venezuelan Foreign Affairs people, they told us those were the lines outside the ATM. People going to the bank, they had just got paid, they're going to the bank to collect their salaries. So there were a few lines outside some of the banks, but on the way back to the airport from the presidential palace, but from Miraflores back to the airport, that's when we saw the people. There were lines outside of the supermarkets. There was a supermarket. There were people inside the supermarket, and the line was making a curve outside along the pavement. There were long lines at the bakeries, people going to buy bread. There were long lines of people waiting for public transport, waiting for buses, waiting for taxis. And all on the pavements, there were a lot of people selling on the pavements, peddling, you know, their merchandise. So that's what we were able to see in the short space of time that we were able to see that.
Well, on a lighter note, I did see videos of the Prime Minister dancing with President Nicholas Maduro. Was this to sweeten the deal?
Well, you know, as Trinbago people, once we hear calypso music, we have to move our feet. And actually, there was entertainment outside in the courtyard while the deal was being signed. And Prime Minister Rowley said that the president invited him. He said, you know, we have calypso music outside, and the President Maduro invited Dr. Rowley to go outside and listen to the calypso music. And when we asked him about Dr. Rowley, when we asked him about that in the airport last night, he said he felt so happy to hear calypso music in Venezuela, and he identified with some of the costuming. It looked like some of the Tobago old-time wedding costuming, and he couldn't help but move his feet.
And Karen, did you dance?
He felt at home.
Did you dance, Karen? I won't tell anyone, I promise.
Actually, we were in the press room.
Right.
So we were looking on and we said, wow, look, the Prime Minister is dancing. And Maduro is dancing and the conga line and everything. So we were actually looking at it on a big screen inside.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Karen. Karen, they're giving us an account of what took place yesterday on her trip to Venezuela.